All right, my name is Mr. Stelzer-Miller. I'm the school psychologist, and I'm coming to talk to you guys about sleep. This is something that the adults in your life spend a lot of time talking about, is your sleep. We're going to talk about why sleep's important. We're going to talk about sleep at Culver, how things have gone in the past. We're going to talk about what happens if you don't get enough sleep. And then we're also going to talk about how to get better sleep. Some other things that I hope that those of you, there's a couple of you here that have had concussions, and those of you that might have it in the future, I hope not. But I also work with students that have had concussions to help them recover, and we help work through classes. I work with students that struggle academically for whatever reason, and then sometimes just kids need someone to talk to try to help make sense of everything else in life. So there's always someone around to talk to you, either in the health center. All of you know where that is, correct? Yes, good. And then my office is in the basement of Legion. You know which building Legion is? Yes, good job. I'm proud of you. All right, so first, I need you to take your index card, hold it up like this, like a hot dog. All right, and I want you to fold it into a hamburger. So, I'm just going to fold it in half. Just in half. Good job. All right, let's open it back up. I want you to label the first side. One of them is A, one is B. Flip it over. One is C, one is D. So each square is going to have its own letter.
Big or small?
Make it small because you're going to write other stuff in here. And then what I want you to do after you've labeled A, B, C, and D is fold it so only side A is up. All you need to have is 1/4 of it up with side A. So in side A, I want you to write down one thing about sleep that you want to know more about, or a question you have about sleep. Not about dreams. Not about what they mean. About sleep. So, write down something you want to know about it, or a question you have about sleep. What? Which group? Yes. What's your best question?
How much would you each age group get every night?
Perfect. We will answer that question. Yes.
Why does sleep affect you?
Why does sleep affect you? What do you mean by that?
Like, why am I supposed to be a question?
Good question. We'll talk about that too.
Let's see. How can you develop better sleeping habits?
Perfect. We're going to talk about, I think we're going to answer all of your questions.
How much food is needed, like, function forward?
Okay. More than you're getting. Sure. Unfortunately. Yes.
Well, sometimes I sleep for a very long time, but the next day I still feel very tired.
Okay. We're going to talk about why that happens.
How many calories do you burn while you sleep?
We're not going to talk about that.
That's so random.
It's a great question.
That was your question.
All right. Now what I want you to do is flip your card over so you have card side B up. I want you to write down on side B, B as in boy, how many hours of sleep did you get last night? Let's talk about what happens when you're sleeping. So ideally when you sleep, these are the things that are going to go on. First, there's going to be something from here to your heart and your blood vessels. When you get older, people that chronically lack sleep are going to have a higher likelihood of having cardiac problems. Because of the fact that the more you sleep, your body can repair itself. Your body has a hard time regulating hormones that control you feeling hungry and feeling full with less sleep. So the hormone that helps you feel hungry is created at a higher level, and then there's a decrease in your level of the hormone that makes you feel full. So that's why sometimes people are more likely to overeat when they're tired, especially if this goes on for a long time. Overall, there's just a lot of cell and repair and growth that happens. When you guys learn new information, what happens is these nerve cells in your brains create more connections with each other. Literally, your brain is growing and changing to learn information. At night, those new connections are strengthened. The ones you don't need go away. So that's why it's really important that you're getting those, because it does impact your ability to physically learn. When you're resting, when you're sleeping, your body isn't just doing nothing. It's actually really busy. There's also a cycle to sleep. So when you sleep, it kind of looks like this. Okay, let's talk about it. So when you go from being awake And then you go into stage 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the farther down you go, stages 3 and 4, this is when you're going to be in deep sleep. This is when you're like comatose. Really asleep, nothing can wake you up. If you're woken up during that time, that's when you wake up and you're really, really groggy. Stages 1 and 2, those are a little bit lighter sleep. Stage 1 is that when you're in that stage, some of you might have that sensation of like falling right when you go to sleep, or you suddenly jerk as you're trying to go to sleep, because your body's just starting to get into that sleep pattern. And then, what does REM sleep? What's REM stand for? Not REM. Rapid eye movement. So during that stage of sleep, your eyes are rapidly moving, your muscles become tense, your blood pressure will go up. It's when you're actively dreaming. When you wake up during that time is the time where you really remember all those vivid, really bizarre dreams. If you're not in there, the farther you get away from that time, the harder it is to kind of remember what those dreams were. So, to get to stage 4 takes between 70 to 90 minutes. So it takes about a little over an hour to an hour and a half. So this is one of the reasons why naps are problematic. So if you take an hour-long nap, an hour and a half, where do you wake up in your sleep cycle?
Deep sleep.
Deep sleep, you're out. Have any of you had those experiences? You wake up from your nap and you feel worse than you did before, you're really groggy, you don't know who you are, where you are, what just happened in your life, but it's not good. That's because what happens. Now the other problem is, especially if you're taking a nap in the evening, is that you just threw off this whole cycle because you've already started this and then interrupted it and you're going to try to start it again. So ideally, if you have to take a nap, how long would your nap be?
8 hours.
2 hours. 20 minutes, 25 tops. Which I know most of you don't even feel that's really a nap. It's like nothing. But if you have to take a nap, that's best. If you sleep your whole free period and you're asleep for an hour and a half, you're still all the way down here. You're going to have a hard time waking up. You're going to sleep for your next class, which I'm sure none of you have done yet, or will ever do. And you're going to be really groggy. You're going to feel worse than you did before. Yes?
So it would be better, you would feel more energized after 20 minutes than after an hour and a half?
Yes. That seems like it's counterintuitive. It seems like it would make more sense the longer you sleep. Which would be true. If you could sleep those epic like 6-hour naps, 5-hour naps, where you just are like gone for a day, you might feel better after that, but when you interrupt that sleep cycle, it's not the best. And if you sleep long enough that you wake up in the middle of a lighter sleep stage, that could help, but it's pretty hard to make yourself do that, or to time it, because not everybody's rhythm to sleep is the exact same, so you can't really time that perfectly. So that's why a little bit of rest, it's not going to be a deep sleep, but it's enough to help you feel a little bit better. Overall, naps aren't the best idea, but if you have to, you're going to die if you don't sleep. Questions? All right. So, we've done a sleep survey of surveying fellow students several times. The last one we did was in the spring of 2013. We did it with a senior as part of his honors project in wellness. It was one of the first students. It worked out really well. He got a lot of information. He added some stuff to the survey that gave us as the adults around you a lot more information. So we're going to look at some of those results. What's helpful to know is that your start time, we used to start classes earlier. And then after we did the first sleep survey, sleep study in 2008, we decided to start classes later. Can you imagine waking up and getting in class a half hour earlier?
Oh man.
Yeah, it would be a little rough. So at that time, this is the average sleep that students got. CMA got an average of 6.27 hours of sleep. CGA just over 6, so the average is about 6.18 for students. On average, what would be the ideal amount of sleep that an adolescent would have?
8 hours.
9 hours. 9 to 9.25 hours. That's a lot of sleep. All right. So after the first year that we did this, so this is the connection to 2009 after we started a different time, this is the change that happened. CMA and CGA both went up and they both started averaging 7.13 hours of sleep. That's a big jump. We go from 6.18 to 7.13, so almost a full hour. Almost a full hour. That's a good increase in sleep. We were happy about that. That's a good thing. So then what we've done since is every couple of years we've redone this survey to see how we've maintained it. So here's the survey result for 5 years. So the first year we're at that 6.18. You can see we jump up, we kind of hold on to it for a couple of years, and then 2013, last spring, you guys were enjoying different school experience somewhere else. We took that survey again, and we averaged 6.5 hours. What does that tell you? What do you think? Interpret the graph. Yes.
Technology is playing a bigger role in our life. I'm
Okay.
staying up with that.
So there may be some technology that's taking effect. What else did you notice from the graph? Anything else stick out? All right. Yes.
It goes from 2010 to 2013.
Yes. We jumped. We didn't do the survey right again for a couple of years because we kind of maintained that, and then there was a feeling that maybe we should check and see if we're kind of maintaining that lead that we gained. So we tried it again, and we found out we've lost some time. So here's the averages for CMA. So here's from 2008, 2009, all the way through. And same thing for CGA. You can see that everyone has experienced this same kind of change. What we also found was different was that it also depended on where you lived. Certain dorms and certain barracks had more sleep than others. The lowest was 6.35 for CMA, highest was 6.8. There's about a half-hour difference for there. Same thing with CGA. Lowest was 6.15 to 6.78. There's about a half-hour difference. So we knew that it changed based on where you live. Each dorm or barrack is different. There's a different culture. There's different stuff that's going on. If you're on the 4th floor of Maine, it's probably going to be a little bit hotter